A single-family home in Calgary now costs $749,000, up $87,000 from this time last year, which is a 13.1% increase. Next month, we're probably going to hit $750 because month over month, we've increased $9,300. These numbers are wild to witness here in Calgary. All the while, CMHC forecasting existing home prices will surge 20% higher by the end of 2026. Now, this is Canada-wide. They're averaging a rise of 136,000, going from 678,000 in 2023 to a whopping 814,000 in 2026. Calgary is most likely going to lead the charge with this exponential growth in Canada. My name's Fyfe, your Calgary Realtor. If you're looking at buying, selling, or investing, go ahead, book a Zoom call with me. It's the first link in the description. If you want to know what your single family home is worth in this market, go ahead. I have an auto AI generated home evaluation tool, super slick tool. Click the link in the description. It'll spit out a home evaluation for you every single month if you wanted to. Let's get into it. So with that being said, single family homes in Calgary cost $749,000. Pretty wild increase. Let's remember that there's attributes. So when you see that $749,000 as an average in Calgary, you get a 4-bedroom home with a totally finished basement. You get two full baths, 1 half bath, a double attached garage. It's around 1,500 square foot. The lot size is just over 5,000 square feet, and it was built in 1998. So when you see the benchmark price, you want to put the attributes into play. So with that being said, let's look at what the Calgary Real Estate Board has written about single family homes or detached homes here in Calgary. If you want to read it on your own, pause it, go to the next chapter. Not offended. Detached home sales rose by 1% in April compared to last year. Sales gains in the higher price ranges offset the steep decline for homes priced below $600,000, which is related to the lack of listings in the lower price ranges. While detached new listings did report a year-over-year gain of 10%, detached homes priced below $600,000 saw new listings decline by 34%. Adjustments in sales and inventory levels did cause the months of supply to fall further this month. The less than 1 month's supply reflects a market favoring the seller, driving further price growth. In April, the unadjusted benchmark price reached $749,000, over 1% higher than last month and 13% higher than April 2023 levels. So, like I've said in my total residential video, the higher price point homes have a little bit more inventory. They have a little bit more of a relaxed market. It's still a seller's market, but it's a little bit more favorable for buyers. Not by much. Anything under $600,000 is a very aggressive market. If you're looking for a single family home in Calgary under $600,000, be prepared to step into a pretty intense market, lots of activity, lots of movement, very fast movement. So this chart here just showcases a 1-year spread of every single month for the single family homes. You can see that the red bar is the price point. We hit that ceiling in August last year. We kind of stayed within that realm of around $700,000 for about 5 to 6 months. And then as soon as February, March hit, we just shot off again. We saw February and March have some pretty aggressive price increases. March to April, still price increases, just not as much as February and March, but I would imagine that this price chart is going to continue to increase all throughout the year. You can see that this is the second month that sales actually outpaced inventory, which is a very clear indicator that inventory will be depleting if it continues on that trend, especially if we don't get new listings. This is a very clear indicator that prices are most likely going to increase pretty rapidly all throughout 2024. So this chart here is the same information, just in a numerical value. So you can see in the month of April here, we had 1,300 sales, 1,600 new listings, and 1,200 leftover homes at the end of the month, where the days on market actually dipped below 20, which is the first time we've seen the days on market dip below 20 in the last year and a half. You can see all last year, the lowest we hit was 20 in June. We're already at 19 days, which is a very fast-paced market for single-family homes. The benchmark price is $749, the median price is $725, and the average price is actually $796. Now, the $796 is actually a decrease from last month of $801. Last month, I kind of figured we were going to stay in that higher average price point, but you can see we actually reduced the average down to around $796, but the benchmark price increased by about $10,000, meaning that the lower price point homes had more activity pushing up that benchmark price. So pretty crazy market here. The sales The new listings inventory, I'm not really going to touch on that right now, actually. So this is the total sales, year-to-date total sales for the entire city. So you can see the blue bar here is the detached homes. You can see that we have increased ever so slightly from last year. We are nowhere near 2022 levels, and we're not quite at 2021 levels. Now, those years are a lot less expensive than what they are now. We're talking about like 100 to 150, almost $200,000 decrease in benchmark price than what it is now. So we are starting to see a little bit more increase in sales, which is good, hopefully offsetting with a little bit more listings, but let's touch on that right now. So this is another breakdown of the detached market year to date for single family homes. Total sales were up about 10% to 4,100 units. Sales volume were up 22% to 3.2 billion year to date. Okay, new listings are the exact same. We're basically flat across the board year to date. We've only seen about 5,100 homes come on the market, but you can see the inventory is pretty greatly decreased, going from 1,300 leftover homes to about 1,100, of 20% decrease there. Sales to new listing ratio is up above 80%, meaning a lot of the homes that are being listed are selling. Sales to list price ratio is above 101%, meaning that a lot of the homes that are listed are selling over ask. Days on market year to date average is on 23 days. Benchmark price, median price, average price, we can touch on those in other charts. So where's the inventory, right? Where is all of this inventory in Calgary? So this is total inventory, meaning that it is all of the property types morphed into one chart. So this is apartments, townhouses, as well as semi-detached. But you can see anything above 700,000, there's quite a bit of inventory or leftover homes at the end of the month. When you add them both up, it's about 1,100 homes, which is a good portion of all of the homes currently left over. Single family homes really are 500 and up. You don't really see too many $400,000 homes. You do, but a lot of them are fixer-uppers, and a lot of them are in northeast Calgary. So with that being said, this is a months of supply. This is a really good chart just to showcase how fast the market's moving in individual quadrants. So we're going to break it down here. Right off the hop, you can see that the green bar, which is East Calgary, has 0.4 months of supply, meaning that market would get cleared out in about 2 weeks, which is insane. The Eastern District of Calgary is the most affordable district, so a lot of people that came here to Calgary from out of country, out of province, seen those affordable prices and absolutely absorbed all of that market. So they are a very, very aggressive sellers market there. You can see that city center kind of reverse scale, a lot more expensive. You're looking at probably $1 million plus in the city center quadrant, but they're at 1.4 months of supply, which is still a seller's market, but a little bit more relaxed movement in that higher range. Now, we looked at the inventory there. You could see a lot of the 700 plus homes have all the inventory, so that's just a very clear indicator that a lot of them are in city center. Everything else besides northeast Calgary is actually under 1 month of supply. Everything's hovering around that 0.8 months. This is about 3 weeks, which is still a very intense seller's market no matter where you go. So as a seller, you look at this is kind of exciting if you plan on listing, meaning that if you list for the right price, you don't overstretch yourself, you don't ask for too much, you're going to move fairly fast. But you do still want to be price intelligent. You want to look at the market in your given community, look at the price points in those areas, and just make sure that you're listing at a realistic price point. People do ask, should I list, $50K under the market value and try to get the most amount of activity? Absolutely, you could do that in this market, but there's still a risk, right? There's still a risk that if you go into a community that maybe doesn't have as much activity as other communities, there's still a very real risk that you might not get that anticipated price that you put it on the market. You put it on, let's say $50,000 under ask price, you might only get that additional $30,000. You might not get that 50, 60, 70. Everyone thinks you're going to just get $1 million from your home, and that's just not the case. There still are homes that sit on the market for a longer period of time because people might be just a bit too greedy, and there's a lot of intelligent realtors out there that will call that out, right? And they'll let those homes sit on the market for a little bit longer than what they need to. So just keep that in mind. The benchmark prices here, this is pretty cool. You can see that City Center and West Calgary have the same benchmark price at around $900,000. And then everything else is kind of hovering around that $700,000, with East Calgary, like mentioned in the previous slide, being the most affordable, now above $500,000 for a single family home. But when we look at these, you're not going to get the same attributes for every single property. You want to make sure that you're putting the attributes on top of your the benchmark price. So here's a chart here. We're going to look at Northeast and East just as an example, most affordable quadrants in Calgary. Let's just very quickly look at the attributes. Both have 4 beds. Both have totally finished basements. East has a full bathroom, 2 full bathrooms, sorry, no half baths, where Northeast has 2 full bathrooms, 1 half bath. You can see both have attached, Northeast has an attached double car garage, East has a double detached garage. Northeast has 1,200 square foot, East has 11, Northeast is 1985, and East is 1972. So when you start to actually level out those attributes, you're going to see there's going to be quite a big difference there. So just because the Northeast has a higher benchmark price, you want to make sure that you're putting the attributes behind that and then leveling out those attributes in those 2 separate cities or quadrants. Year-over-year price growth, this is quite fascinating for a lot of people, maybe those investors out there, maybe you have a rental property, whatever. This is pretty gnarly to say the least. Everything is above 10%. East Calgary, like mentioned, is upwards of 25%, quite large increases all throughout the city. So with that being said, I have this AI software here, spits out a home evaluation instantaneously, put in your information. It's me that looks at it. I'll probably end up calling. I haven't called anyone yet in May. To be honest, it's been quite busy. So a lot of the people that have put in their address, thank you. You can do this once a month, once a quarter, once a year, and just kind of watch to see how much your home evaluation has increased. If you are curious and to watch it a little bit more closely, you can reach out to me and say, hey, set me up on a monthly campaign. I will manually go through and I will manually send you an updated home evaluation with some recent sales and give you my thoughts on what's going on in your local community. So with that being said, this is the microeconomic breakdown for each individual quadrant of Calgary. Fascinating stuff here. Okay, so you got your sales, you got your new listings, you got your sales to new listing ratio. Look at East Calgary. They've got 48 sales and only 41 new listings. They're at 117% sales to new listing ratio. Wild stuff. Everything else is basically hovering around 80%, which is still a very intense seller's market. Inventory, or the amount of homes left over at the end of the month, not going to lie, pretty surprised to see Northeast Calgary being the 3rd most quadrant with the amount of leftover homes at the end of the month, considering they're fairly affordable compared to every other quadrant. Months of supply, everything is under 1 month of supply, minus City Center and Northeast. Again, fairly surprised to see Northeast not moving as fast as some other quadrants. I would have imagined that Northeast would be as quick as East, just because the price point in Northeast makes sense. When you start to look at the benchmark price, Northeast $599, everything else is above $600,000, $700,000, $800,000, right? You look at City Center, $937, you look at West, $942, and then you look at some of the more quote-unquote favorable, affordable communities of South, Southeast. They're still upwards of $726,000 and $723,000, which is quite expensive, and it's so crazy for me to see this, especially being a realtor since 2017. And watching just how fast every single month these prices are increasing, and looking at that CMHC forecast report, thinking that you're going to see double-digit price growth over the next 1 year, and then another double-digit price growth the next year. Like, pretty crazy stuff. Month over month, everything is seeing pretty gnarly increases. The only one that didn't increase as aggressive as others was West Calgary. They only saw $1,300, and surprisingly, East Calgary only saw $3,700. But when you start to couple it from last month, you can see everything last month saw double digits, right? The lowest being, what is that, 10,000? And then this month, everything is actually somewhat slowed down since last month. Northeast only seeing 68, North seeing 2,000, West seeing 13, and East seeing 37. But on the other end of things, City Center seeing 15,000, South seeing 15, Southeast seeing 15, coupled on with last month, like South Calgary, $26,000 increase last month, $15,000 increase this month, $40,000 just like so quickly within 60 days, 2 months. That is a pretty gnarly increase for one quadrant. So this chart here is very fascinating. It's going to take a little bit of time for people to maybe recognize quickly, but the red bar is the benchmark year over year percentage increase. So you see this little spot here. Over the last, let's say, 6 months, it's all been double-digit price growth throughout the year. You can see a dip early last year. There was only 5 to 6% year-over-year price growth for that month because of the interest rate increases that we saw. Prices were still increasing, just not at the rate that they are still increasing now. So I would imagine this red bar is going to stay somewhere in that 10% increase all throughout the year. And I'm going to touch on this more often. This chart, on the other hand, is just the price. So you can see that 2019, 2020, 2021 saw a small increase. 2022, we saw a large increase with a decrease with the interest rates rapidly increasing in Calgary. People thought that that was it for this market. We're done. 2023, blew past people's expectations. 2024, I'm pretty sure people are expecting to see double-digit price growth all throughout the year. So this chart over the next 5 years, or at least, sorry, over the next 2 years is going to see some pretty gnarly increases, and I would imagine, hopefully in 2026, we're going to start to see a flat line and it's slowing down, but I have no idea. Like, this market just continues to surprise me every single month. So if you have any questions, go ahead, comment them below. I'm sorry for those of you who have commented. There's quite a bit of comments I haven't replied to yet. I'm going to get to that. If you have any questions specifically, you can call or text me. Go ahead, reach out. If you want to set up a Zoom call, go ahead and book a call with me. Direct link to my calendar in the link below. Thank you very much for everyone who watches these things. Let me know, even if you don't have questions, let me know your thoughts of these videos. I really enjoy reading those comments. I appreciate it, especially those who challenge me in saying some things, because it makes me think and it makes me reply thoughtfully. So thank you very much for those of you who do that. We'll see you on the next video. Peace.